Okay, how many of these great things that arise for the people actually turns out to be good for the people? You know what I mean? Like, like talk like Patriot Act or whatever. Like things that sounds good, right? The Prosperity Party, right? It sounds very Chinese, you know. It's the Ethiopian party of Amhara. I can't say it's of Amhara because it's a state-run municipality where you just express yourself through force of capability. You just take the will. It's not the same thing as representing. But they get to say, that if the Menelex and the Mokannon wants to destroy Ethiopia, and they're trying to set up a Chinese military style junta regime, like with their most recent enemy right now, fucking Afwerki and the Eritreans, asking Putin for help, asking Russia for help, the boogeyman. And they're building up, amassing outside of the northern border with Tigray, the Menelex. Like they're Methodist. And the Prosperity Party is Protestants. Right? But nobody wanted to talk. Why? Okay, that's why. That's why they ignored it. Because I was thinking, like, holy shit, dude, Putin, King Leopold, Cecil Rhodes going into Congo, you know what I mean? Not there, but it's not racism when it's black on black. But when somebody wants to go in there and become a king and export rubber or something, it's like how the fuck did his enemy say, okay, well, we can get together and I can have basically he's punking the Nobel laureate. He's saying that basically, we're splitting it down the middle. You're gonna split your shit down the middle? You were just fucking the enemy. You broke away. They broke away. They had 2 wars or something. Big wars. You don't know about it. Like the type of death toll from World War II, type of shit. World War I is it's like the biggest. World War II is because a little bit we had more armor than less people, I guess. They didn't use gas or something, so it's like they banned gas. Or I don't know how that shit works, because unless you have nukes, then who's gonna stop the Third Reich if they wanted to use gas? But for some reason they didn't. I don't know. When we say stand with Ukraine, it's just like every time we say that, like some farmer's midwife's roof gets blown off and it could be either side. And then you could just be like, oh, I think it's this party. I think it's that party. I'll suck this party's dick. And then it's like a whole tragedy cycle of self-fulfilling prophecy then. You know what I mean? Because somebody gets like all this attention from standing with Ukraine and getting everything loaded like he's ready to go, and fucking heads over there with a bunch of like, I don't know, Canadian or Cockney geezers from his district where he knows the parent teacher association. Who the fuck knows? He gets people to leave their families, right? And then they go over there. He turns around and comes back, but he doesn't tell them that he's not leaving. They get polarized at the border. because they're like reluctant and everything, but now they're, you know, doing the right thing, and now it's all, they're getting all the attention, you know, and we're gonna be like a brotherhood, and their patriotism is real and everything, but the ones that have the real patriotism are not the ones that they're gonna put the gun to their back as much and say charge over the hill, because even those government issued troops still, in a way, the government has to be scarier than the Russians. So like they're saying is, you know, we're gonna do our best to strategize how to give you a victory, and then they have to hope that they don't get that they're not like fodder, saying don't waste our effort, because we're only agreeing to fight for this if we're being managed appropriately. But then it's not the same thing as Tecumseh. Like, you know what I mean? Tecumseh had fear and flight, but he didn't drag other people into his conflict. He returned to prove himself to himself. He took it very seriously, and it was a big deal for him to run from battle. You know what I mean? But he's still a warrior. You know what I mean? He like overcame his fear. And this shit, man. But then, see, that's why condemnation prior to investigation should really fuck people up, because they fucking throw their friends under the bus. And everybody thinks that they're better for it. And shit, then they need more publicity or something from they know how to make, because people love the last thing that just happened it's like, why do we have why is it always gas attacks before they start the war now? Because it worked the best in Iraq. So then, does it work in Syria? Try it, Syria. Does it work in Ukraine? And they're just seeing if you're still down with it. They didn't have a full-on gas attack. It was the potential they thought that was a gas attack, and then they just sit back and say how everybody feel. How you like that shit? That shit's gotta be old, man. That shit's be like, man, this shit, when is it gonna end? Those motherfuckers like, fuck you. Your lineage, you could fucking, like, I don't know what the fuck it is I want to do. Sit around and eat ice cream and imagine they're Don Cornelius. I don't know what they want to, what's the fucking, there's more land that we can manage, if we can manage it correctly, than for us to be all clumped up like oatmeal. You know what I mean? Like, you niggas old. At the same time, I love, you saying like, it's a love-hate. Like, to the extent that I love, I can also hate. I didn't mean to say it like you niggas. It's obviously not you niggas that's watching my channel. Duh. It's not really my favorite word. It does come out every now and then. It's not really my favorite word. Everything is everything, though.